Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the water cycle. As you know, in the previous parts of this Classic assignment, we've already learned a lot about the water cycle. So we're just going to take some more notes on the water cycle. I'm going to walk you through taking the notes. If at any point during this video you need to pause the video so that way you can copy all the notes, that is okay. So just as I'm reading and as I'm talking about what's on the screen, make sure you're just following along. So the first page on our notes is the water cycle, the process by which water moves through the atmosphere. So in these notes, there's going to be some sections you need to copy. So for example, right here, the process by which water moves, you need to copy through the earth right here and atmosphere right here. So there's three words you need to copy: moves, earth, and atmosphere. So the process by which the water moves through the earth and the atmosphere. The water cycle has three main components to it, which we're going to talk about right now. First one is evaporation, the process that occurs when water changes from a liquid to a gas caused by heat. Now, evaporation, that's, for example, when you have a puddle on the ground, it heats up by the sun because it's a hot day, it evaporates and turns into a gas, and what it seems like is it disappears, but really it's just turning into a gas so you can't see it. The next one right here, condensation, the cooling of water in the atmosphere, changing gas to a liquid. So that would be when you form clouds, you have all this gas in the air, it turns into a liquid and it becomes a cloud now. Precipitation is when that cloud gets really heavy and really full. You have water droplets that fall from the atmosphere in the form of rain, sleet, snow, or hail. Now, two other main important things we want to talk about is the ocean and the sun. The ocean is the largest body of water on Earth. 75% of the Earth's surface is the ocean, and 25% of the Earth's surface is land. So it's really important to remember how big the ocean is. And then secondly, the sun. The sun provides energy that evaporates water and heats the land. So the sun is really important in understanding the water cycle. So if you need to pause the video to copy down this page, you can go ahead and do that right now. And we're going to go ahead and move to the next page. So right here, you see this big, beautiful picture. The first part we're going to want to copy down is right here, the water cycle. And just like we had on the last page, the process by which water moves through the earth and atmosphere. So go ahead and copy that down. And then we're going to move right over here to where it says ocean. Again, just like we saw on the last page, the ocean is the largest body of water on the earth. 75% of the earth's surface is the ocean. So go ahead and copy that down as well. I'm going to go ahead and explain what's going on here in this picture up here. So first we have the sun. The sun's rays heat the ocean. So the sun's rays heat the ocean. They warm up all this water right here on the top of the ocean. The water here gets warm enough and starts to evaporate. That's where you see evaporation. The hot water vapor kind of starts to collect up in the sky. As it starts to cool, the hot water vapor starts to cool, you get condensation. So right here, go ahead and fill that in, condensation. Then you go ahead and scoot on over once you get over land and it keeps getting colder and colder up there in the sky. Then you get precipitation. That's when it starts to rain or snow or sleet or hail. So precipitation is what happens when it gets really cold up there. When you have precipitation, then that causes you to have runoff. Runoff is when water flows back to the ocean. You see this a lot in San Diego. When it rains here and you see the streets start to flood, all that water in the streets goes down into the sewers, and then it ends up going back into the ocean. You also have transpiration here, which is when plants start to kind of sweat out water. So in the morning you wake up and the grass is all wet or plants are all wet. That's transpiration. That's kind of the plant sweating out water. That's another part of the water cycle right here. If you need to pause to copy these notes down, go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide. All right, list 5 ways we use water. We use water in many different ways: to brush our teeth, to bathe, to wash wash clothes, to wash dishes. We use it to cook, eat, and drink. We use it to swim, to play in, to like swim and surf, ski and snowboard. And even though that seems kind of funny that we would say ski or snowboard, snow is just frozen water. So that's how we can use water to ski or snowboard. We can use it for hydropower, so making electricity out of water. And we use it to put out fires. This is really important in California because we have a lot of fires here that need to be put out, a lot of wildfires. So next right here, most of the Earth's water is at the north and south poles in the form of ice. So that's an important part to remember, that a lot of the water here on Earth is found in the north and south poles, and it's frozen. It's in icebergs. It's also important to know that the amount of water has stayed the same over eons of years. However, the form or the state of water is constantly changing. So there has not been more water or less water. It's always staying the same, but it changes state or form. So it can change from a gas to a liquid to snow, back to rain, and then go back into a liquid. So it's always kind of changing, but the amount of water stays the same. And then right down here, the sun, as we talked about earlier, the sun is the driving force of the Earth's weather. The major source of energy which powers the water cycle is the sun. So this is really important, that the sun is really important in the water cycle. It kind of heats everything up and is able to cool things down. So it's a really big driving force for the Earth's weather. If you need to go ahead and pause to copy down these notes, you can go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next page. So where do we get our water from? We can get it from springs, as right up here it says springs, which are basically underground lakes or rivers. There's underground lakes under the United States, and they have hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water in them, and the water will sometimes pop out like this. So those are springs. We get water from streams, creeks, rivers, lakes, and the ocean. You get water from a ton of different places. There are two classifications of water. We have salt water, which is found in the oceans, and fresh water, which is our primary source of drinking water. You cannot drink salt water because it'll make you really sick. If you could drink a little bit of it, it's okay, but you can't drink a lot of it. It'll make you sick. Whereas fresh water is our primary source of drinking water. And the water cycle has no start and no end. So if you need to go ahead and copy all these notes down on this page, go ahead and pause the video now. All right, we're going to go ahead and go to the next page. So more on the water cycle notes. As we stated earlier, 75% of the surface of the Earth is water. Without water, we could not survive. Water is so important, as we have already talked about. If we didn't have water, we wouldn't be able to survive. A lot of other planets don't have water, and that's why there's no life on those planets, because life needs water to survive. There are 4 characteristics of water. There's color, clarity, salinity, and taste. Color is, well, the color of the water. Is it blue? Is it brown? Is it green? You know, color or water can have a lot of different colors. The clarity is, how well can you see through the water? You know, in a swimming pool, that's a really good clarity because you can see through the water in a swimming pool. Whereas in the ocean or lakes, sometimes you can't see through the water very well, so it has bad clarity. Salinity is how much salt is in the water. The ocean has high salinity because there's a lot of salt, whereas the water out of your sink at home has no salinity because there's no salt in it. And then taste. How well does the water taste? Does it taste really bad? Does it taste really good? Water is the lifeblood of organisms. Nutrients are distributed and waste products are removed. So by drinking water and by other organisms using water, we're able to move around nutrients and get rid of waste in our body. If you need to go ahead and copy down this section of notes, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. This is our last slide. So introducing all the water on the Earth. 6 categories of water on the Earth. So we have our salt water right here. We have fresh water. So salt water found in the ocean. Fresh water is which we drink. Ice caps and glaciers. So that's any water that's frozen, maybe in the Arctic. Groundwater, so water that's coming from underground. We have lakes and rivers. And then we have water in soil and air.